Nobody marries a fat girl, sir, she whispered on a blind date. The millionaire CEO smiled. Then let's prove them wrong. The little cafe on Alder Street didn't look like much. Ivy tangled across its windows, the smell of roasted beans hung in the autumn air, and the door creaked like an old secret every time it opened. Inside, light spilled through mismatched lamps, dancing with dust in golden beams. Lena Bergstrom stepped in, early as usual, regretting it instantly. 26, curls pinned halfway up, soft cheeks, the kind of face that made strangers call her sweet instead of beautiful. Her blue vintage dress clung where she wished it wouldn't, and the cardigan she wore like armor slipped off her shoulder every few seconds. She found a table at the back, fidgeted with sugar packets, and checked her phone, again. Nothing. Just silence and nerves pretending to be hope. And then the chair snapped. One leg gave way, and Lena went down in a blur of curls, fabric, and disbelief. The cafe froze. Conversations paused mid-sentence. A spoon clattered to the floor. Flat on her back, Lena blinked up at the ceiling, then laughed. Too loud, too bright. Guess I skipped leg day, she joked to the stunned crowd, trying to salvage her pride with humor. Her cheeks burned as she stood the broken chair upright. As this seat taken, she turned. A man stood there, tall, calm, his hair tousled like he'd just come from the wind. Slate gray sweater, steady eyes. That wasn't you, he said easily. That was a betrayal of furniture. Happened to me last week. An umbrella, a drone, and my dignity. She blinked, then smiled. You must be Elias, he nodded. Before she could say anything else, her defense mechanism kicked in. You don't have to feel sorry for me, she said quickly. No one marries a fat girl, sir. The words landed heavy in the air, the kind that echo even in silence. Elias didn't flinch, didn't look away. He just said quietly, then let's prove them all wrong. He disappeared for a second and returned with a sturdier chair, solid oak, reliable, and placed it behind her. Try this one, he said simply. Lena sat. The chair held. So did her breath. For the first time that morning, she felt like she could exhale without apology. Their first date turned into a second. This time in a dusty old bookstore where the walls smelled of paper and stories that refused to die. Elias handed her an old book of poems, one page marked, in praise of things that don't fit in drawers. She smiled. A compliment. He shook his head. A protest. They laughed. They shared tea. They talked about everything and nothing. And for the first time in a long time, Lena wasn't trying to be less. Elias never called her beautiful. He didn't have to. He talked to her like she already knew she was. He built smart homes, chairs that adjusted themselves, tables that balanced on uneven ground, all designed for people, not perfection. We fix furniture, he said once, not people. It stuck with her. Weeks passed. They grew close. Then one evening, she overheard his mother's voice through the cracked office door. She's lovely, but people will talk. The words hit harder than they should have. She left quietly that night and began to pull away, piece by piece, like wallpaper peeling itself off a damp wall. Elias never chased, just sent one message. I'll be here fixing chairs if you ever need one. Days later, rain-soaked and trembling, Lena showed up at his door. In her hands, a small handmade chair, uneven, imperfect, but hers. I made this, she said softly, setting it down. I'm not sure it'll hold. But I trust you to sit in it. Elias smiled and sat. The chair creaked, but it held. They both laughed. Then he said quietly, my mother wants you to come to dinner. After what she said, I told her something, he said, meeting her eyes. That I don't need someone who fits. I need someone who's done protecting herself just to feel loved. Lena's breath caught. This wasn't rescue. It was recognition. Months later, under string lights and jasmine blooms, she walked down a garden aisle in a silk gown that shimmered like moonlight. Elias waited, eyes steady, smile soft. The vows were simple, honest. Elias said, the best things in life don't fit at first. They wobble, they creak, they take time to settle. Lena didn't fit into my world. She made me build a better one. Applause rose like a prayer. That night, she sat in her old repaired chair, the same one that once broke beneath her, now sanded, polished, whole. Elias handed her a hand-thrown mug, etched with words. "No one marries a fat girl. Watch me." She laughed, tears mixing with joy. They sat hand in hand, quiet, fearless, and finally home. If this story touched something in you, if it reminded you that love doesn't demand shrinking, only truth, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that feel like heartbeats.